Well, it's the end of the second week for Morgan. We're working on the project for Cameron's Concrete, and a few things have happened during the week. We've had some bills come in that we've had to deal with, and we've had some money come in, which was awesome. But these are all things that happened midstream of a project that you just got to deal with on a day-to-day basis, the old administration, that kind of thing. But really, it's just now time to sum up the week and make sure our timesheets are all up to date and so forth. So normally Morgan would be doing daily updates to timesheets and so forth, but what we've done here is we're going to put them all together into the Friday afternoon update. So let's see how we go about doing that. So we're on the project here, but let's just take a quick look at the sales order. So go into sales and then open up the order, and we can see here that we've delivered and invoiced for our initial analysis, and we can see that we've got Cameron's ordered the 2 hours workshop. We haven't delivered it yet, but we've invoiced for it. Now we have actually delivered that, we just haven't registered in the system. On Monday and Tuesday this week, Morgan went out and ran the workshops and they've been done, so he needs to update that. And he's also spent a bit of time on the draft and analysis and draft report as well, so we need to update that as well. So how can we do that? We can go through our tasks here, through the project and then the task, or straight to task, and normally that's what I would do, but assuming that it's just another day, then we're probably going to be sitting in our project space anyway, and we'll open up the project. So as I said, Cameron's actually done these workshops now, so we can move them into progress and open them up. And open up our timesheets, and we can see that there was 16 hours planned. Let's go and add a line, and complete workshops is now done, and we spent 16 hours doing that, so 16 hours being the 2 days, and we can see that immediately moves to 100% done. I can go back to the sales order here and so forth, but I can save that. And that's great. That's now complete. Let's actually go to sales. Have a quick look at the sales order, and it's actually marked that it's now delivered the two days of workshops. We still don't have anything invoiced because we've already been paid for these first two, so they're done now. Let's just go back, and I can follow breadcrumbs back to the project. And I'll move that out of the in progress and now done. That's finished. And then on Wednesday and Thursday and Friday, Cameron did some work. So we'll move that to analysis and draft report, which is what we worked on. We'll move that in progress and we'll open that up. And we go to the timesheets now, and we can add a line. So today is the 29th. Let's go and pick out, so Monday, Tuesday was workshops, so this is now the 27th, where we might have just done some initial work. I can, by the way, resize these to give myself a bit more room, and I'll squeeze that one back that way again, and now I've got a bigger line to play with. So description, first, look at data. Try to think of a better term for it. Now, this is the Wednesday. If we go back to the calendar, this is the Wednesday, and he had a quick look at the data, and so this is the data that he retrieved during the workshops. There might have been some work you need to do to put it together before the analysis and that kind of thing. So, but he might not have done a full day, and he might have only done 5 hours. So that's that done, and then on the Thursday, which is the 28th, he's collated the information and maybe spent all day on that. And so as you can see, we've gone up to 16% now. There's 80 hours allocated to this, and that we've got those 13 hours that are done. And then today, continued analysis, or for the sake of putting something in there. And maybe he's only done 5 hours again because he's had a couple of hours of doing some administration work and some other bits and pieces. Maybe he's doing a quote for someone else, that kind of thing. So all in all, he's done 18 hours so far out of the 80 that is due. So what have we got now? We've got this, everything's ready to go. We've got the project here with the assignees. We haven't bothered putting in an assignee because he's the only person in the business. Company, the customer in there, the sales order and the task that's related to. We haven't got a specific deadline set on this task, but we could absolutely put one on there. So what we're going to do is save this. So we can now go back to our project and we can see that this is currently in progress, and out of the 80 hours we've now got 62 left. So the good thing about this, I can quickly see how much time I've got left. I've gone over on this one by 2 hours, and that's why it's got a red box around it. I'm right on time with this one, so that's why it's got a yellow box around it. And we're green on this one because we've still got time left, and green on this one because we've also still got time left. So it's looking pretty good. So what we can do now is see if there's anything to invoice. So we can go back to our sales order, we can open up the project, and there's as I said, so dozen ways of doing this. I can open up this sales order again, and I can see there is a quantity of 10 that was ordered. We've delivered 2.5 of those, which is, roughly works out to be because here we're talking in days, whereas on the timesheet we're talking in hours. So that 18 hours is really 2.25% delivered in days. Yeah, that's what it equates to, 2.25. And we haven't invoiced any. So we can now go and create an invoice. But another way to do it, yet another way to do it, is and that would be the most straightforward, logical way to do it. I'm just showing you there are other ways to do it. So I was back here on quotation. If I was somewhere else in sales, I could then go straight to invoice, and it orders to invoice, and you see it brings up that one that I haven't invoiced for yet. So it's a really convenient way to say, right, what do I need to invoice? And it might be a Friday afternoon, you want to get your invoices out. I can just go to invoice, bang, orders to invoice, gives me this list. Great, I can go click and open that, and I can see that there is a quantity there that I can invoice for. That's great, really good way of doing it. Yes, it has brought me back to the same place, just in case you're wondering. So Cameron did agree that once a week we could send an invoice, which is awesome, and he'll pay immediately. That's also awesome. So we'll create the invoice. Whether this is going to be a regular down payment or not, we've got those options again. But we've also got some timesheeting periods now. If we only want a timesheet for a certain period, obviously here we can set those periods. But I want to do everything that we're able to invoice for right now. I don't want to cut it down to any specific period, so I'm just going to leave them blank. I'll create my invoice, and here it is. My brand new invoice sitting here ready to go in a draft format, and I know it's draft because it's blue. I can see that it's the ex-tax is 1620, the including tax is 1782, and I can see I haven't been paid for yet, and I can still see it's still in draft status. So I'll open this one up now. Recalling that you might have multiple invoices here too, so this allows you to pick which ones you want to invoice. Notice here too that this is invoicing for those 18 hours. But if you recall from the purchase order, there was a lot more on our purchase order than what we had, but it's ignored the stuff that we've already been paid for, or that we've already invoiced for, and the stuff we haven't delivered yet. So that those don't appear here because they're not ready to be invoiced yet. So this is now the draft. I want to confirm it. So I'll click the confirm button, and then I can send it. I need to send it to Cameron so he can pay it. So I'll click on the send and print. I don't want to print it out. I just want to email it. And again, I can attach files. So it might be maybe I've dumped out the timesheets to a file, and I want to attach that, or I've got some extra documentation I want to send with this invoice, whatever the case may be. But you may recall from a previous lesson we've added Cameron in as a portal access user, so Cameron can actually log in himself and see where we've spent the time. We'll have a quick look at that in a second. But then I can send that off to Cameron. I'll click send, and that's now gone off, and Cameron's now looking at it. But it is Friday afternoon after all, so yeah, I'm not really expecting him to do anything over the weekend. We'll just see how that goes. So what have we got here? Let's go back to our accounting, and I can see that invoice is now registered here on the dashboard as being unpaid, and it's a customer invoice, so it's money coming in. We've paid all our bills, so we're right there. We don't have any miscellaneous options. We don't have anything going on in cash at the moment, and our bank balance really hasn't changed. So at the moment, we do have the invoice out there, but we haven't been paid for it, so it hasn't hit our bank account yet. So it's nothing has changed here either. This is pretty much identical to the last time that we had a look at it. One thing we might want to do is log in as Cameron and have a look at our at the portal to see how things are progressing, because now he's got that built. That might be one of the first things he does. So go and open up a private window, and we want to log into McKinley, and it has remembered that I'm Cameron. I'm logged in there as Cameron in this private window because we left it going. I don't know if you recall from the previous lessons. And I can see that there's two invoices here. I can open that up. Then I can see that there's one that's been paid, and we don't owe anything on that from Cameron's perspective. And here's the new one that we've just got, and it's waiting for payment of that amount. So great, okay, I can see that. Let's have a look at timesheets. I can now see what's going on there as well. And I can see that Morgan's done some work on the analysis phase, and that's great. I can see the workshops were done. This is great for the customer to be able to see all this and know exactly what's going on. It means we're not keeping him in the dark. He feels quite welcome, and chances are if we're doing this, we're going to this level of effort to be so transparent with this, he's going to want to do business with us in the future because he knows what a good experience it is. So let's go back now. Is there anything else we need to look at? I think that's probably the main things. You can go into the tasks and see that there's now two done there. One's in progress and one that's still to do. So we haven't presented the findings yet. The analysis is still in progress because we changed it from the states to into new in progress, and we changed the workshops to the done state. So it's now showing that. So this is awesome. This is great. And I still see my purchase order there as well. So Cameron's now happy because he can see everything that's going on. He's in touch and is more likely to pay this bill without any qualms or anything like that. Yeah, I think I would be expecting, if I was Morgan, that on Monday morning that payment will be there ready for me to go. So that's great. So that's where I'll leave this lesson. Oh no, I won't. Actually, I've forgotten to do my update. So before I leave this lesson, let's go back into project. Now, the project's been running along. I'll go into the project itself, and it's time for our weekly update. So I'll click the on track button, which just is a shortcut to take me to the project updates. and it's time for a new one. So there's been some changes over here in some of these options. So we've got a lot more hours recorded. Our billable time still left there. We've got an extra invoice here as well, so we've got 2 invoices now. We can see that our 8 hours was done on the initial analysis, and that took 10. Our workshops are now complete. We can see that 18 hours of the analysis and draft phase is complete out of the 80, and we haven't done any time on the final present the findings report there. What I can do from here is tick off that we have completed the workshop. So remember, these are project milestones, not the product milestones, and we're in progress with the analysis, so I won't tick that off yet. And our last update was a week ago. I'm going to create a new one update, and I was going to call this weekly update too. Weekly update. I'm not the best speller in the world, and not the best typist. Nevertheless, I'm going to say we're still on track. I think we're going pretty good. Morgan's doing a great job there. There's the date that this update was created. We can see the current progress here, as mentioned before in the previous lessons, that this information is going to stay with this update. So you can really see exactly where you're up to at that point in time, which is great for future reference or similar projects if you run them in the future. I can see the profitability at this point in time. So as of right now, $1,100 is where the project costs are at, and we've got 3,780 coming in, and that means that we're sitting at that really good looking number there. And a great margin. This is just looking awesome. This project's going so well. I can see that the milestones been ticked off and so forth. So yes, this information is very similar to the one we saw before, but this is going to lock this in. This is going to be this snapshot at this point in time. Those other numbers will change as we progress through the project. So what's going to be our words here? I'm going to say tracking very well, all targets met. Yes, we did go over in that first instance, but I'm treating this as now we're going to be okay with this. I think that little bit of overrun on the initial, I think we're going to absorb through the rest of it. I think that from a project perspective, we're going pretty well. And we've actually got this is a reference for future projects. So let's save this one, and we're done. So we've now got, if we go back to up, we've got 2 updates happen now, a week apart, and we can see exactly where we're tracking and so forth. So that's looking great. We're going really, really well. Go back to the project, and we're still working on this one, which we'll probably be working on all next week and maybe the week after. So where are we now? We've got our project's been updated, our current invoice has been sent out to Cameron for him to process, and we're waiting on that money to come in. We've paid some bills this week. We've actually got some money in from Cameron for our first invoice, which was awesome, and things are looking really good. So that's where we'll leave this lesson for this week.